Okay, board members, you all set? Here we go. Good evening, everyone. I would like to convene a meeting of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education to order for Monday, July 15th, 2024. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Burkett, present. Fiorentino.
Present.
McKindy.
Present.
Scarpino.
Present.
Thomas.
Present.
Zettler.
Present.
You have 6 board members present.
Thank you. Would you all please stand for the pledge of the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. There have been no changes to the agenda. Therefore, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Fiorentino.
Aye.
Zettler.
Aye.
Thomas. Scarpino.
Aye.
McKindy. Burkett, aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. We're now on board announcements. Item 4.1 is board member resignation and the appointment process. Dear members of the District 300 community, I would like to announce that Randy Gauthier, formerly a member of the District 300 Board of Education, resigned effective June 26, 2024. Randy's resignation was due to personal reasons that require her full attention. At this time, I will read Ms. Gauthier's resignation letter. It is with deep regret that I, Randy Gauthier, submit my resignation from my position as a member of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education, effective immediately. After careful consideration, I have made the difficult decision to step down due to personal reasons that require my full attention at this time. This decision has not been easy, as serving on the school board has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. During my tenure, I have had the privilege of working alongside dedicated colleagues and committed educators to enhance the educational environment for our students. I am proud of the progress we have made together in addressing key issues and implementing initiatives that benefit our community. I am confident that the remaining board members, with their wealth of experience and dedication, will continue to advocate for the best interests of our students and schools. Thank you for the opportunity to serve on the District 300 Board of Education. I have deeply valued the experience and the relationships I have built. I look forward to supporting the board's work in the future, albeit from a different capacity. Wishing the board continued success in all its endeavors. Sincerely, Randy Gauthier. This concludes Ms. Gauthier's letter of resignation. The Board of Education expresses our gratitude to Randy for her dedicated service and commitment to District 300's students, staff, and the community. Her resignation creates a vacancy on the District 300 Board of Education. As outlined by Illinois School Code, a school board has 60 days from the date it was notified of a resignation, which again, in this case, was June 26th, to fill a vacated seat. 60 days after June 26th is Sunday, August 25th. Because the 60th day falls on a Sunday, the District 300 Board of Education will be looking to fill the vacated seat before Friday, August 23rd, which is 58 days after notification. Tonight, I would like to provide the community with information related to the board vacancy, including eligibility and the application requirements. All of this information, including links to the application form, are available on the District 300 website in the News section. In order to be eligible for the board vacancy, An individual must be all of the following on the date of appointment. First, a United States citizen. Second, at least 18 years of age. Third, a resident of Illinois and District 300 for at least 1 year immediately preceding the appointment. Fourth, a resident of Rutland Township. And fifth, a registered voter. Certain types of state or federal employment and holding an incompatible office are disqualifying factors. Additionally, a child sex offender, as defined by state law, is ineligible for board membership. A maximum of 3 persons from any one township can serve on the board at any given time. Those interested in serving on the board must submit an electronic application and provide a written letter of interest no later than noon on Friday, August 2nd, 2024. Applicants bear the sole responsibility for ensuring their application and letter of interest are accurately completed and submitted online. The application requirements are as follows. A completed application submitted electronically must be accompanied by a letter of interest that includes the following information: the applicant's name as it appears on their voter registration card, their date of birth, including the month, date, and year, their home address, their email address, their telephone number, their reason for wanting to serve on the board, their qualifications and skills they would bring to the board, and 3 personal references and 2 professional or business references with full names and contact information. Additionally, applicants should demonstrate familiarity with the board's policies regarding general duties and responsibilities of a board and a board member, including fiduciary responsibilities, conflict of interest, ethics, and gift ban. The board's policies are available on the District 300 website at www.300.org/Board of Education. Submission methods for letter of interest. Applicants must submit their letter of interest to both Dr. David Scarpino, Board President, and Colleen O'Keefe, Chief Legal Counsel, using any of the following methods. For Colleen O'Keefe, Method 1, U.S. mail addressed to District 300, attention, Ms. Colleen O'Keefe, 2550 Harnish Drive, Algonquin, Illinois, 60102. Method number 2, hand delivery. District 300 Central Office, attention, Ms. Colleen O'Keefe, 2550 Harnish Drive, Algonquin, Illinois, 60102. And method number 3, email, Ms. Colleen O'Keefe at colleen.o'keefe@d300.org. For Dr. David Scarpino, method number 1, U.S. mail addressed to District 300, attention Dr. David Scarpino, 2550 Harnish Drive, Algonquin, Illinois, 60102. Method number 2, hand delivery to District 300 Central Office. Attention, Dr. David Scarpino, 2550 Harnish Drive, Algonquin, Illinois, 60102. Method number 3, email Dr. David Scarpino at david.scarpino, then the number 1, at d300.org. As previously mentioned, all of this information, the information I have just read, including a link to the application, is now available in the news section on the District 300 website at d300.org. Again, as previously mentioned, all of this information, including a link to the application, is now available in the news section on the District 300 website at d300.org. Finally, any questions regarding the board vacancy can be emailed to Diane Stratton, Board Secretary, at diane.stratton@d300.org. Thank you. We have no public participation, so we will move to the consent items. Do I have a motion to approve the consent items? Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Who was first? Okay. Zettler. Thomas. McKindy.
Aye.
Burkett, aye. Fiorentino. Scarpino.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Item number 7, closed session. 7.1, do I have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing 1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body, 2(1). Number 2, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, 2(2). Number 3, the selection of a person to fill a public office, 2(3). And 4, self-evaluation, practices and procedures, or professional ethics when meeting with a representative of a statewide association of which the public body is a member, 2(16). Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Zettler. Aye. Scarpino.
Aye.
Burkett, aye. Thomas. Aye. Fiorentino.
Aye.
McKindy.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. We'll be going to closed session. There will be no action following closed session.